I've been doing a fair amount of speaking and writing about reading the water lately, and I thought I'd take a couple minutes this morning and talk about the main idea of reading the water. Now, most of you that know me know that I call a typical run in the river a riffle to a shelf to a pool to a tail out to another riffle. And that just makes it real simple for me. And there can be several typical runs in a river horizontally. In other words, there could be one over here on the left, there could be one in the middle, and there could be one in the right. When I get to bigger water like that, I'll break it down. I'll break the river down into longitudinal sections, left, center, right, and then I can go ahead and pick apart those typical runs. But right here, you can see we have the riffle up above us. And we got a nice little island here that gives us two seams. You know, we've got an outside island seam, we've got an inside island seam. You can see those. Obviously, right below islands, you've got a lot of bugs that are compressed, and it becomes like a super highway for bugs. You're going to have fish set up in those. But for the purposes of what I'm talking about here, you can see we have a riffle upstream up here. Okay, that's a very nice long riffle section, and you know I think anything under 3 feet in depth is a riffle section. You can see it's got good chop on the water. You can see that the fish are going to have to make a fairly fast decision on whether or not they want to eat. And fish typically hold in the riffle sections because they're there to eat or to spawn. So you find fish in those riffle sections, it's pretty much game on. It's pretty much game on. Now here, the riffle section goes into the pool section. And you can kind of tell the pool section because it'll slow down a little bit. It's got a little more depth to it. In this particular case, this pool is probably 3.5 feet deep, and you will find feeding fish in here. A lot of times when you get deeper pools, especially in the wintertime, that's your holding water. The fish are going to get in there, they're going to hold up. I call them pouting pools because a lot of times we'll catch a fish, we'll release it, and it'll go right down into the pool section. Slower, calmer water, and you know that's where they'll rest. So that you find a lot of safe lies and secure lies in the pool sections. Now, sometimes I'll fish those fish, sometimes I won't. Depends on the pool, and it depends on whether or not the fish are feeding in the pool. Between the pool section, right down in here, and the riffle section is typically a shelf. Now, this is kind of a long sloping shelf, which makes it even much more fun to fish. But in a lot of cases, you'll have a pretty abrupt shelf. And you'll find your fish will just stage right up on that shelf because that riffle is churning up all those bugs, and the bugs are just popping, floating right over the shelf section. So you'll find a lot of fish that set up on shelves as well. So we've talked about the riffle section, we've talked about a shelf section, and we've talked about the pool section. And now this particular run here, if you look downriver there, it goes into another riffle section. I don't know if you can see that, but it's slightly around the bend. So then it goes to another riffle section, and then it has another pool, and then it has another riffle. So that's how I break a river down. Now don't discount the tail out. The tail out is the area just before the next riffle section. And that's, again, the bottom is kind of coming up. It's starting to get shallower, obviously, to go to that riffle section. And so you'll find fish staging up in there because, again, the bugs are being compressed into shallower water, and you'll find your fish feed down there. And that's a lot of people discount those tailouts, but keep an eye on those. You can catch a pretty big fish down in those tailout sections. All right, so we've got riffle to a shelf to a pool to another riffle to the tailout, then to another riffle, and you fish them all accordingly. I like to fish a run typically from the bottom to the top and from the inside to the out. So I'll fish my way up and in on a riffle section. Now look on that far bank over there. You can see some softer water. You see there's kind of a foam line there. I don't think you can pick it up on the camera, but there's a little softer section along that side over there. Certainly going to be some fish in there. I like to fish those seams. I like to find any place where I can find 2 seams or 3 seams coming together. I like to find bends, like that bend up there. All that food, a lot of that food is being pushed over to that bend, and there's a little obstruction over there. So those are just kind of things you start to look for when you read the water. And if people ask me all the time, how did you see that fish? Well, I got to tell you, 50% of it is knowing where to look. Is knowing where to look for the fish. If you need to comment, certainly feel free to comment. You can find me on my blog at www.flyfishersplaybook.wordpress.com. Please feel free to comment, shoot me a line, and I'd love to talk stuff over with you. So, have a good day. Thank you.